Okay, Ryan. So, we are about like a good 2 years outside of the pandemic, maybe two and a half. Depends where you live, I guess. Is there
Sure.
something that you like? Obviously, there's stuff that comes to mind immediately, but is there something that you did during the pandemic that you don't do anymore? Like not talking about like wearing masks and staying at home, like other things.
Right. I did stop washing my hands after the pandemic ended. My hands got so dried out, and I bought way too much moisturizer and everything else. I was like, I'm sick of this whole hand washing thing. I don't care if it gets rid of germs or whatever the FDA says. It's total crap anyway. But I stopped washing my hands after that, and it's really worked out for me. Since then, I've met a number of celebrities, shaken some hands here and there, done some other things, and I feel like they're relics of history now, so I stopped washing my hands, if that counts.
Hey, I'm Emilio,
Hey, I'm Ryan.
and welcome to the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast.
We're two friends that have only ever met through the internet.
Join us as we talk about our lives in this epic show.
And the show starts now.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast. That was a joke. We do endorse hand washing. Hand
We
washing
do indeed.
Hand washing
It
is
was
one of the most important activities you can do, which might seem that it's optional. And I guess technically it is optional, but still, we encourage it. We encourage it.
We do encourage it. That was just a bit. Guys, I have washed my hands once since the pandemic, so I have not completely stopped doing it. It might be optional, but you guys should be doing it. You probably touch a million germs a day.
Hell yeah.
So just this podcast is sponsored by handwashing.com. Link in the description. If you guys go right now, you get 15% off your next hand washing at your
Hell
bathroom
yeah.
sink. So, just follow the code down below, link in description.
Hell yeah. It might say Kofi and it might charge you $5 that get donated to the Terminally
That's
on Pep Pals podcast. But that's just like that's just
It's a glitch.
yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, if
Anyways,
it shows up in your banking account, don't worry about it.
Ryan, how are you this evening?
Oh, I'm doing fine and dandy. Awesome to be back doing another episode of the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast. So, doing all right. It's been a week, working as per usual. But I'm good. How about you, Amelia? How are you feeling tonight after all this
I'm
non-hand washing talk?
I'm good. I'm glad we clarified that the hand washing was a joke, you know.
Good thing.
I was not gonna sleep if we never clarified that.
Dude,
But
next time we're just gonna have to make it clear bathing is also not optional. You know.
what do you mean?
Well, you have to bathe, I feel like we've already condemned hand washing. Let's not do the same thing with, showering or bathing.
All
I
right, get
feel like
ready
we're
for
gonna
the
get
next.
flagged.
The next episode's gonna be, is bathing optional? Heated debate.
Serious debate.
Anyways,
But
guys, let's just jump right into what we got up to during the week. Um, I'm gonna start backwards. I'm gonna start actually talking about today. And just to clarify, you should never wash your hands backwards. I think like
how
soap
would you
first.
even do that? I wonder.
Uh,
Like, do you put the soap on the back
I
so then
I I meant on like water first and then soap, but
it's like showering reverse, but putting your clothes on first, and then the water, and then the soap, and then stepping out all clean,
anyways,
which sounds disgusting.
I'm gonna try that. No, anyways, so I
It's
tomorrow's
almost short
actually,
shit.
as of recording, today is August 16th, and tomorrow's my birthday, August 17th. Uh,
Holy
and
crap, we have a podcast birthday coming up?
hell yeah! So today, Ryan prepared a video with all my friends and family wishing me happy birthday that will play now.
No one showed up, by the way. But
So they're
I'm gonna
but
edit
like
that in later.
yeah, I mean they're like yeah, that this is where the video would go. I mean, I know you don't
Yeah.
have it just yet because you're
Okay.
busy.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely don't have it yet. So
Anyways,
yeah.
so so I went to have lunch with my family. I'm not gonna do anything big tomorrow or on Sunday. I'm just gonna have a normal. This is like family stuff. Next week I will do some more friend activities. Except all my friends were conveniently out this week. They were out of town this weekend. So
And they're not paid to hang out with them either.
I'm,
Shockingly enough.
my mom told me I couldn't pay for them this week, so you're gonna have to.
It's not her week to have the paycheck come out. It's all on Emilio's dime this week. It's her
Anyways,
birthday.
so yeah. I also don't want to. I'm like I'm going on a big trip. Last we've talked about in previous episodes, so I don't want to do like anything like go out because I'm like I want to keep my money for that trip and blow all my
Mhm.
money on dumb tourist traps. When I'm,
Wise financial choices.
and so that was it. I went to. I mean, I added another restaurant to the list of restaurants I wouldn't return today. Actually,
Gosh, the list is ever growing.
because today we went. It was me, my mom, my grandpa, and my sister, and it was supposed to be a grill, but I could taste that my steak was made on a pan. Like you can tell the difference. You can obviously tell the difference. And so I was like, this is very disappointing, but okay, I'll let it slide. It's not bad, but it's
Yeah,
like you advertise it as if it being done over charcoal, but you did it on a pan,
you
like a
did in an
Teflon
old,
pan.
decrepit-looking frying pan.
I'm glad I didn't see that pan. Otherwise, my experience would have been a lot worse.
Yeah, he would have called the health department at
I would
that
have been
point.
out of there. It was average at best, but
Yeah,
my grandpa, well, he's a grandpa at the end of the day. So if he like if I have said something, he would have told me like order something else. But
right.
it was a nice restaurant. It's one of those restaurants, right? That it's for no reason overpriced. Like I wouldn't even call the place like with such a fancy ambience aesthetic. I don't know how to describe it.
I don't like restaurants that have like a fancier vibe to them, but they're not
Yeah.
like five-star restaurants where they serve expensive food or an exclusive guest list or something
Yeah.
like that. It's like
So
the atmosphere. It's like Olive Garden.
yeah,
Is
yeah, it
what I
was
would
kind of
classify
like
as
Olive
that.
Garden. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's like the vibe. And I was like, no, my steak is fine. But I was like,
It's like
it kind of sucked. And
it's like
and
they could have. I think the waiter could have spat on it in front of you, and you would have been so polite. You're like, "Yeah, this is awesome.
this
Thank
is
you."
awesome. Thank you. I mean, they gave me a slice of cheesecake for free because it was my birthday, so I wasn't that.
Oh, that was nice.
It was nice, and the dessert was nice.
Right.
But then after we dropped off my grandpa at his house, my mom said, "Yeah, so that sucked, right?" I was like, "Yeah, that was the worst steak I think I've had in a while." And my mom's like, my mom had pasta, and she was like, that tasted like pretty average. It wasn't like that big of a deal."
Right.
So yeah, it was my birthday lunch. Sunday, I'm visiting my grandma, my dad's mom, and we're making pizza. So that's gonna be cool. Tomorrow,
Very Italian.
tomorrow, I don't think I'm doing anything special. I just want to do nothing on my birthday. Also because I've been kind of sick all week. Uh, I only trained Tuesday and Wednesday because when I woke up on Thursday, I was like, I feel like I'm dying. And then I went back to bed and I woke up and I was like, no, that was not a dream. I think I'm gonna get a cold, but I'm taking every med to like slow down me getting sick. But I'm kind of dreading it. I'm scared that me getting sick is inevitable, and I don't want to get sick because next week is gonna be a busy week. I have to go out of town for work. I'm gonna go out of town for my birthday.
Mhm.
So
It's the monkeypox kicking
it's
in.
the freaking monkey pops.
Yep. Emilio's going to slowly start mutating as the week goes on. A tail's going to come out. More
I
fur is going to
I
grow on
love
his already
mom
hairless
cheese.
face.
We
Yeah.
must return to mom cheese. Anyways, But that was it. Then on the weekend, so like after we filmed the podcast, there was my graduation party. And I think this is another one of those moments where we have to go over the cultural differences. So in America, you guys have
Hmm.
prom. If you guys are lucky, Ryan will tell you a prom anecdote. Or if
We're
prom
gonna save that story. That's it's an interesting prom for me. I'll say that.
here in Mexico, it's not very common, but what is common is a graduation party. And now,
Oh yeah, I've been to a few of those actually myself.
so yeah, it's like that,
Outside of prom, I mean.
but it's like a prom. You know, like you get dressed up. You don't ask people
Right.
out, but people here treat it kind of like how prom works in the States. Obviously, I can't confirm it
Yeah.
because I didn't have a prom because they don't do them here. But it's not
Yeah.
organized by the school. It's not held within school premises, um, which I think is one of the main differences. Um,
Kind of.
Students pay for it. That's kind of like the only thing that's the
Yeah,
same.
that's another major difference.
And they have them
Because we,
for college, master's degrees,
yeah.
high school. High school is the only thing you do them for high school, right? In the States.
Well, for graduation parties.
Well, it's like a like prom. I mean, prom is only high school,
Oh
right?
yeah, prom. Yeah, prom runs junior and senior year for high school. Now, graduation parties like what you're talking about, those are extremely different here in the States. I remember during my senior year, I went to 3 or 4 graduation parties in 2 days to the point where I had to stay over at a friend's house just to make the next two. I wasn't home for about 48 hours in that time period because I was going to 4 parties.
Hell
So, but they
yeah!
are extreme. Yeah, they were a lot of fun,
But what I want to
but they
ask
ran
though,
late
what
to
I want to ask though is like, so those graduation parties are for the. So mine was for my class.
right.
Were those like sort of the same thing, or like someone's family held a party for so and so, or
Someone's family held a party. So all 4 of the graduation parties that I went to, the last one of which was with my best friend who I've known for over 20 years. That was the last one I went to. Each one of those parties was held by that person's family. It wasn't a celebration for the entire class or for the whole grade or anything, but it was for each of the friend because each party that I went to, they were a friend of mine. But each one of them were financed with the food, with the locale. There was one that took place in a local park, one took place at like a party pavilion and at their house, like in their swimming pool and everything else. So it's financed by them. They chose the location and they supplied the food and everything else. And they just invited people out to the party to hang out there and celebrate the fact that we're graduating as seniors from high school. So it is different that way too. It wasn't for an entire class or it was like a large group depending on the party, but it was held for one person in celebration.
yeah, no,
And
yeah. So it's very different. I mean,
it is
those
very different
types
on that
of
one.
parties exist, but they're like very like small scale. Like maybe, I think
Oh yeah.
maybe 20 people. Um, but this one was like everybody in the. I guess it's more like prom. I think the main difference is like family members can come over, and
Yeah. It,
which I think is a big difference. But
it is.
mine was it was okay. I mean, I had friends that brought in like 20 guests, 29 guests. Um, I only bought one extra ticket. Um,
Uh, I'm sorry I couldn't make it out, by the way. I
yeah,
know
there was
you
an
were really
empty
excited,
chair,
but
and everybody was like, "So who are you bringing over?" And I said, "Ryan, my friend." And he said, "Yeah, Ryan isn't real, Emilio. We wanted to tell you for a while now."
this whole thing is just a mental illusion, by the way, too. Like I said, I'm AI generated, guys.
Yeah,
We're gonna reveal that like at the end of the show,
I didn't
like whatever that
actually
is.
get my degree in communication studies. I got them in computer science, and I programmed an AI called Ryan.
I'm
R,
pretty sure you hallucinated that
it's
too.
RAIN. Get it?
Not that rain.
Rian. Ray.
Rayon.
I only had one ticket. I only got one ticket because I was only planning to go with my girlfriend, but
Oh.
we broke up 4 months ago.
Oh. I was like, whoa.
So I was gonna take her, but then we broke up, And then I was gonna take my friend Marca. So it was going to be pretty cool because he knows a lot of my college friends and whatever. But then he got sick with COVID. Could you please tell me how in
My
our
lord.
Lord's year of 2024 do you get
What are the
COVID?
I don't know. What are the odds of that happening? You break up with your girlfriend and then your best friend gets sick. So then you're left with a leftover ticket. So what do you do with it at that point? Do you just sit with the ticket all night?
I only got 2 tickets. So, anyways, when it was time to pick our table, I wanted to sit with one of my friends who I've been friends all the way through college. You know, he's one of my closest friends,
Mhm.
and we were doing the math in our heads. And for us to have our own table, it was a perfect fit because he had, I think, he was bringing like 15 people or something, or no, he was bringing 13 people, and so he would have one table with 5 people and another one 10 with me
So that's a lot of
and
people.
my extra ticket. I know. So that was the plan, but the organizing committee wouldn't let us sit together. I don't know why. It didn't make sense. Told me, well, you can pick whatever table, except we can't guarantee that you'll sit with your friend
Mhm.
because he's so far down the picking order. And I'm like, okay, just give me whatever table, and if my friend doesn't get that one, it's okay. And then they were like, well, actually, no, because we have to fill up a table. So we're gonna have to sit you with someone who already has 2 empty slots.
Emilio got sat next to his ex-girlfriend, making
No,
for an awkward reunion,
my ex-girlfriend
similar
didn't
to
go
my
to our
junior
school.
prom.
Uh,
Okay, lucky you then.
so I am like, okay, so who can I sit with? And like the people that they mentioned, it's not like I didn't. Well, there was one person I was not a big fan of them. Like I don't really like them. I
Mm.
person on my hate list. Well,
Ooh.
I don't hate them personally, but they don't get along with one of my friends, and I'm like, well, if you hate Ryan for no reason, I'm gonna hate you.
Oh, thank you, buddy. You definitely defended my honor that night, I'm
Anyway, so
sure.
they were like, I'm not a fan of trash talk or whatever this show is called now, and
What's trash talk?
and so
Did
I
that
was
even
like,
happen?
but one of the options was one of my friends who I play Sunday Sunday league soccer with, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit with them. But now, anyway, so fast forward, my friend gets COVID, and I'm thinking, what do I do? And one of the guys on the soccer team, we're not super close. We're friendly, like we get along, and
Hmm.
uh, and he's a nice guy. He's a cool dude, and he's a friend with the friends I'm sitting with. So I invite him last minute to the graduation. Luckily, he's a law major. So, fun fact here in Mexico, at a certain point in the law degree, they have to every day wear a suit. So, he was ready
Okay,
to
that kind of
go.
fits. He's the one that got you out all those police tickets from the last time you talked
Fun
about. That makes
fact,
a lot of sense,
fun fact,
actually.
fun fact. That guy always, when we were playing soccer, we would, like, I told the anecdote of how I have many friends that have been pulled over, blah, blah, blah. And he told me, if you guys ever get a ticket, bring him over to me. I'll get the ticket removed. And I'm like, oh, wow, this guy sounds like he's a big deal. Anyway, so his dad gets a speeding ticket, right? And we're like, oh, Mike, his name is Mike.
Yeah.
You're gonna revoke your own dad's speeding ticket? And he's like, hell yeah, I got everything ready. He shows up to court, and the judge is like, well, this is great work. Only one mistake. So who owns the car? I was like, oh well, it's my sister's car, but my dad was driving it.
Mhm.
That's the thing. You forgot to clarify that in the document. So your dad's still gonna get a
Oh,
ticket,
no.
but you did a
Yeah.
great job.
Yeah, he's like, he did an awesome job, but on a technicality, you're still paying the fine.
Technically, the transit officer shouldn't have pulled over your dad,
No, but
but
things happen. You should have clarified whose car it was. So here's a ticket, and I don't
here,
mean to a concert.
you guys gotta pay the fine. Anyway,
Yeah.
so now we know he's not the best lawyer, But he's getting
but
there.
he's a lawyer.
He's getting there.
Yeah, but he's a lawyer though, and it's better than no lawyer.
Anyway, so yeah, and the party was fun. I had a good time.
Actually, I have a story to share that's a little interesting from my first graduation. That was pretty epic. Well, maybe not epic, but it was fun.
Hell yeah.
Which I can tell since
High
I guess
school
that's going to
Ryan
be
anecdote, everybody. Sit
yeah,
down.
it's
Get
another
ready for the
another
best
piece
TikTok
of
clip ever.
absolutely. It's the next piece in the Ryan cinematic universe of my high school adventures. Like we have retail adventures going right now, but now here's the high school segment. So like what Emilio's been talking about his graduation experience, like I mentioned before, when I was graduating high school back in 2017, I know I'm old now, I understand. If you're watching the video version, that's much more apparent at this point. I had to
You're
repeat
just
12th grade like 3 times, so
you're 45 years
that part's in
young.
there.
What's the big deal?
Yeah, great math, buddy. It's been more than 5 years since I've been graduated, so you're like 7 or 8. So nice try. But in 2017, it was around, I think, May of that year. I went to 4 graduation parties in 48 hours. Again, to the point where after the first one, I stayed over at a friend's house and then had 3 that lasted until about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And the latter 3, they weren't anything, yeah, I know, crazy party animal. They weren't anything too
It ended
crazy or
at 8
spectacular.
o'clock.
I know, right? Whoa. It was so insane. But the last 3 parties that I went to weren't that bad. They were simple gatherings at a few local places, like at a few parks in the area. I went to some, hung out with some friends, ate some
Mine
food.
ended at 3 a.m. I just want to add that.
Wow. So my first ever graduation party that I ever went to, it was actually a pretty interesting experience for a number of reasons, and I'll tell this story now. The party itself was held at a local park not too far away from the town where I went to school at for my high school. So we ended up going to this park about midday. Everything was being set up. There were 2 sections of the campground. One that was connected with a wooden bridge that went over a river, and it's a pretty popular local joint for parties and gatherings and that kind of thing. And the evening was going pretty well. Everyone was going, eating food, having fun, hanging out with each other. And it was held for one of my friends, or at least he's not a friend of mine really anymore, but he's an old acquaintance. We'll say that. But my
Will
friend
we
at the
ever
time.
hear? Will we ever hear why you guys aren't friends anymore? Or did
Maybe. We'll
something
have to,
happen? Or did something
if
happen at the party?
ooh, maybe you guys are gonna have to follow on Kofi though to get the extended version of that. So donate to us for extra
If
content.
we get 5,000 likes on this video and $100 donated on Kofi, Ryan will review.
We'll extend out the story and tell you why this friendship was not destined to last. But we'll save that for the extended version of the episode.
We reached that goal, and you say, "Well, he just moved out of town." We like,
Dude, let's do it after we get the money though first.
yeah,
And then we'll do
sorry,
it.
I'm gonna cut that out. I'm gonna cut
Even
that
if even if it only happens once. It'll work. But anyway, during the
He
party
died.
at one point,
No,
he just died. Like I don't know what happened. He just dead. That's it. But no, it was the interesting parts about this party where it was going pretty well, pretty standard at that point. My friend at one point though disappears halfway through the party, and we were all gathered around. We were getting ready to head back to his place where we would eventually go and swim in the pool and crash at his house for the night. Which we were wondering what was going on. So it turns out he left halfway through the party having one too many beers at the time,
Hell
and
yeah.
he was in the bushes with a girl he hooked up at the park. And as you can imagine,
Wait a
he was
minute,
doing.
they hooked up at the park?
They hooked up at the party, and then they hooked
No,
up in some bushes
and
that were
at a
nearby
public park.
at a public park.
Oh, that's
A public-
just trashy, guys.
Yeah, it is trashy. Don't do that stuff, guys. That wasn't even the worst of it, though.
Guys, motel with a jacuzzi. Come on.
Yes. No jacuzzi this time around, unfortunately. There was a lot of things I wouldn't, thankfully, I didn't look in the bushes at that point. But apparently, he hooked up with a girl at one point throughout the party. They ended up going off into the woods, had their fun, so to speak. And then we were looking for him, and he just reappears out of nowhere, like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" I'm like, "Where the fuck were you at?" And he's just gestures over to a trash can. He's like, "Let's just say I've been having some fun tonight, dude." When I looked in the trash can, that was the most amount of condoms I've ever seen in my life at that point. Use condoms, may I add. So I
Okay,
can definitely tell.
I have many questions. Why did you say many condoms? Okay, so I'm trying to think about my logic here because okay,
Okay.
we've all had that experience of like,
It was like at
you
least
could
10 or so is what I mean by a lot.
you
Is what
know,
I was
maybe you're nervous. This happened to me. You know, you're nervous and
yeah.
you're trying to pop it on. You break it accidentally. Happens. Okay, but I
Right.
don't believe that that happened 9 times. Or like,
I don't know.
why were there so
That's the
many
thing.
condoms?
I didn't ask him about it, so I have no idea how
Like,
I don't know
all
how that
right.
happened.
First of all, Ryan, I understand when you're no longer friends with this guy. He had an orgy at the park and he didn't invite you because that's the only reason
I
I
didn't want to
find
be
for him
invited to
having
this thing,
10
man.
condoms
I was literally just there to eat food, hang out with some friends, and
and
not
go
look
to
in
an
public
orgy.
trash cans. I feel bad for the park ranger who went through and probably had to clean out the trash the next morning. It's who I feel bad for.
I have
But anyway,
questions. I have questions. Like, dude,
I do too.
why did
I don't
you,
have any answers. I
why,
don't
why,
know what happened.
why, like, why did he have so many? How do you waste all those condoms in one go?
I do not know
Why?
how
This
that
is the
happened.
most impressive story I've ever heard in my life. Maybe they're condoms from other people. Like maybe this is a normal hookup spot there,
It could be.
and there was other people's condoms.
I
Um,
don't know. It was just a crazy moment because after that happened, the rest of the evening went relatively fine. We got back home, hung out in the swam for a while in the pool, and crashed at his place, and then ended up going to three pretty normal friend gatherings for graduation parties afterwards. But it was just those moments in the first party. I'm like, I've never experienced something like this before at a party ever since. It was just fucking crazy. And this was back in high school during my senior year, just seeing all this shit go down at a party.
I mean, this reminds me of a college anecdote. Um, I can finally be like Ryan, where he goes back when I was in college, because technically I am no longer a student.
Yeah, I can
But back when
see.
I was in college, I went to a house party. I had a lot of fun, and there was these. So here in Mexico, it's different the way that students that move to campus uh, operate. So I stayed home for school, but and I think Ryan did as well. Like you drove out to school every day, basically.
Oh yeah, I commuted to college every day. I didn't stay on campus.
Yeah, I did the same, but it's very common for. There are two types, at least at school I went to, there were two types of ways of being a out of town student or out of state student, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you call them. Here we call them foreign students, but that gets confusing with like students from other countries. But
Mhm.
the direct translation would be foreign students, I guess. Anyway, so there's two types of living. You can live in the housing provided to you by the school, or you can find another place to live. And so there was these two kids at this party that they both lived on school grounds, except obviously on school grounds they're a lot more strict about what you can do. So
Yeah, I figured as much.
the
You're on
dorms
campus.
aren't co-ed. Um, right, so only boys live with boys, girls live with girls. Um, Obviously, you can't have parties there. You can't have alcohol there. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
You can't have guests either. So these two kids, I don't know if they knew each other from something else, if they were in like some sort of club, because I think the guy was in a law major and the girl, I don't really remember. Anyway, so these kids were really horny. All right.
Just jumps right into it. No
So they were
subtlety, no
trying to
build
get
up,
it
nothing.
on. And the guy walks up to me and he says, "Hey man, uh, you think you could share a condom?" And you're like, "Wow, that's direct. I don't know who you
Dude,
are."
you do
Uh,
not have the vibe of somebody who just busts out their wallet, pulls one out, and just hands it to one of the boys.
Guys, here's how I know Ryan's a fucking virgin. Do not carry condoms in your wallet. Do not. It's the most risky thing you could ever do. They can break easily if you leave them inside your wallet. Don't do that.
First of all, the accuracy of that information is not accurate, but more
Hell
importantly,
yeah.
it's a stereotype. Save for
Anyways,
after the show, buddy.
anyway, so So don't do that. But I'm like, okay, this is about to go down. We're not. I'm saying I'm sorry. I didn't think I would need it today. Thank you for your offer. And he says, no, I'm trying to get on with her in the bathroom. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe he has one. And I point to my friend, and he asked them. My friend doesn't have any. Anyway, so at one point, I see them getting kicked out of the party, and I'm like, because they were having sex in the bathroom, so they got kicked out. But
It sounds
someone
familiar
else,
for some reason. I don't
but
know why.
someone else lends them their car so they could have sex in it. And here's where I ask you this, Ryan. If a friend of yours comes up to you and says, hey, man, me and so we're trying to get it on. Can I borrow your car to have sex in it?
All I'm
I
gonna
don't
tell him
care.
is
I don't care if you're my best friend. No way in hell.
now
No
if
fucking way.
I would say no because I do value my car more than your activities. However, if I was going to, it'd be like I'd give him the keys and tell him, "Be careful, it's a rental." I would, I wouldn't care as much if I was renting the car out because it's not mine. I'm gonna be no, I wouldn't do that either. But no, regardless of whose car it is, if it was mine or someone's I was borrowing, I would not let them do it in my car. It's not my business. You're not using my car that I'm paying hundreds of dollars a month on in car insurance. I prefer if you didn't wreck it. So no.
They tell you you can watch.
Nope, I'm canceling. Nope, I'm canceling my subscription on that one. I'm just gonna back away. You guys do you. I'm not getting involved in that one. Yeah, I think Emilio would if he was parked outside like a furry convention or something like that, like what he usually does outside of the show.
I insist. If I can join in, sure, we'll all have fun. But if I have to just witness it, or like, the driver's seat is not turning into the cup chair. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's not my first response, but all right.
Anyways, guys, with this information,
Yeah,
I'm sorry to say that the show has come to its end with some of the best anecdotes we've ever had on the
yeah.
podcast.
So this
The
is
next
by
episode's
far,
gonna
I
suck,
think,
everybody.
yeah, it's out of all the episodes we've done so far, this one has definitely been the most interesting. Don't do any of that. Be safe, be respectful, make sure it's consensual with a partner of legal age. And if you're going to take away anything else from this episode, don't
Ryan
do
had sex.
No, I was going to say the furry convention thing was a joke. I wouldn't recommend doing that. But if you need to, message Emilio on the social medias and ask him some advice on it.
But if we do go to the furry convention and you know get lucky and you want to have sex in my car, you know the rules.
Yeah. You have to follow the Instagram. You got to
Follow
follow
the
TikTok.
Instagram and the TikTok at topp.pod. Remember to subscribe, like this video, rate us 5 stars, or just like, I don't know, keep listening till the end on Spotify, or answer the poll. I don't know. I forgot already what the poll was.
Exactly. Or just check us out on YouTube Shorts, like most of you are watching at this point
Yeah,
on YouTube.
you already saw the condom clip on YouTube Shorts. Like, just subscribe.
Yeah,
already.
it's that's probably the only thing you're gonna watch from the episode anyway. So you'll get all the important content out of the episode.
Goodbye.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for listening to another week of the TOP podcast.